Hey everyone, my name is Michael. I'm a full-time vintage seller and a plant enthusiast, and welcome to my home tour. So my main living space is set up like a bachelor apartment. So my bed, my couch, my kitchen are all in one room. I call it my mid-century jungle. So it's very specific mid-century modern furniture. And then the plants kind of add that chaotic, wonderful, lush environment. The amount of plants I have in my collection always fluctuates a bit because, I mean, they die or you're buying new plants. Currently, I probably have around 70 or 80 plants. So my styling advice for vintage pieces and plants is to kind of make sure they both are able to shine on their own and then blend harmoniously together. So this is my German plant stand from the 50s. And it's my favorite plant stand that I have in this space. It's quite unique in the shape of it and also the color combination, which is quite rare for this time period. They're a little bit more colorful normally, and I just find it's a great way to display plants. So this is the middle section of my space, and for these plants in particular, they don't get a lot of natural sunlight. So what I've opted to do is add grow light bulbs into this lamp, so that it kind of gives them the light they need, but also kind of adds grow lights in a more aesthetic way compared to some of the other options out there where it's a little bit more obvious that you're trying to add grow lights. I've kind of divided it up where the living room is over here with a few chairs, the couch, and the coffee table with some plants on it just to kind of center out the space. So since my space is so small and open, I've opted for a vintage room divider. This is something I didn't even know I needed until I found it on Facebook Marketplace, but this gives me the division for the spaces. It also keeps it quite open and airy, and to be honest, looks way better than the more modern looking cheap room dividers you would find anywhere else. So another tip that I have to avoid water rings on your furniture is I like to keep my plants in their original grow pots and then just place them in a decorative pot. That way it is the protective layer in between your furniture and the wet soil. In my collection, the only plant that I'm sentimental towards is this Dracaena here. My grandmother gifted it to me about 6 years ago, and I've been able to keep it alive and thriving and happy. And it just means the world to me that I was able to keep that plant going when she started it as a very young plant. My favorite plant though, that I fell in love with on Instagram many years ago is the Calathea Orbifolia. And I just love the large foliage on them. Still haven't learned how to properly keep them alive, but we are trying and we will continue trying until we get that one right. So this is our favorite part of the apartment for obvious reasons. This is where I tend to keep most of my plants. This is also where I get the most sunlight, natural sunlight. I also like grouping them together because of the impact it gives. More is more. And also the waking up beside this many plants every day, just like it's the perfect way to start the day. Being in my home, the type of environment that I've created for myself, I think it's extremely peaceful. It's kind of just like this relaxing place that I get to wind down in. And I just find like, if you didn't have this many plants in my house, what would it be? It would almost be an empty box. There would be no life, there'd be no dimension. So it's definitely like my Paradise Hideaway kind of moment. I couldn't imagine a house without plants. I just think that they add a sense of livelihood and airiness to a space that you can't get with anything else in design. There's no other type of furniture or anything else you can add that bring the same volume of life to your space that plants do.